Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope you all are doing well, enjoying your week. I know that today we were supposed to be having our first session of Traveller, but we are actually short a Traveller this evening, so we're going to be doing just kind of a little, well, I'm calling it table talking, but, a little RPG roundtable where we're going to be discussing some of the new updates to Gundam 5e, as well as some Traveller housekeeping stuff for the players that were able to make it, and it just so happens that they're big time contributors to the Gundam 5e system. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Midnight Hatter, and this is my normal Wednesday live stream chat. Joining me this evening, when they come around, are going to be Ultronimus and G1 Scorponok, fellow members of the Discord server, and again, like I said, contributors to the Gundam 5e system. So, I'm still going to be using my Traveller. Oh man, my audio clipping. I hope my audio sounds good. Always unfortunate when it does not. Let's make sure that I don't sound like a robot. Um, so hopping directly into some of the Gundam 5e changes. Let's see here. Boom. We have actually removed the actually, like I said, let me double check my audio, make sure that I'm sounding okay. Okay, good deal. I like when my audio sounds good. So, for those of you who are, let's see, oh, hey, what's going on, you guys? A 30-second GTA Online. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna see a dime of that, if there was a dime to be had. So, yeah, first things first, we are looking at the new type awakening classes. I've removed the new type classes the from the system entirely. Uh, and that was because they were pretty poorly balanced. I think everyone would agree that treating the new types as a spellcasting class in the system led to some unpredictable results. While we did keep some of the sort of at will and per long rest abilities, um, clearly Cooper's into it as well, going nuts up there. Um, while we did keep some of those at will and long rest abilities, really all we did was add in some fortification of skills, some ability score increases, and then the ability to use Saikomu weapons, which hopefully is going to be a something that people are going to get excited about, because now actually everyone is able to use Saikomu weapons and not just the Saikomu classes. Um, and yeah, so Ultronimus, Scorponok, whenever you guys are good to go, let me know and I will unmute you for the chat. Oh, I should probably unmute myself. There we go. So yeah, whenever you guys are ready, you just let me know. I will unmute you for the chat. So, uh, like I mentioned, the Saikomu weapons, they are going to be at the very bottom, I believe. So yeah, we've got wire-guided remote weapons and then of course the actual Saikomu weapons such as bits, funnels, fin funnels, etc. The the wire-guided weapons can be used um by non-new type characters. There's a shortened range and limitations to what they can do, but it does give you that option. I definitely caught a lot of flack for that, not having incoms and wire guided remote weapons available for non new type characters. But now that the new types aren't a class on themselves, we can do that. Um, Ignore the number next to the next to the funnels for now. You'll see that some of them have numbers indicated on them. That is for something um, coming up soon. That is not, like I said, this. Oh, what's going on, Scorponok?
Hey, Heather. Hey, guys. How's it going? Glad to be
Hello.
here.
Hey, thank you guys for joining. Um, yeah, like I said, I'm going through some of these changes, and since you guys have been big contributors, this is gonna be good to get your guys' input. I don't even think I really asked your guys' permission. I think I said like this is what I'm doing, and if you guys don't like it, you're gonna have to deal with people complaining about it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's maybe a little bit of that, especially with the removal of the proto class. But it's all
Oh
good.
my
Water
god.
under the bridge.
Yes, Scorponok was particularly miffed about losing the proto new type class, which was not so much a spellcaster, it was more of a barbarian class. And the proto new type was things like the exam system, the Hades system, the Alice AI. Those have now been moved into the mobile suit upgrades section, where they are modules that can be installed on the mobile suits. They also come with a lot of pretty nasty side effects. I think you guys would agree.
Yeah, they definitely do. Uh, though to be honest, I hadn't looked super thoroughly through the upgrade section, but I need to do that. Heck, maybe we could add like nitro to the system. I know I worked on the Delta Chi, but that used the old kind of new type system back when they were kind of spellcastery. So
Yes.
I scrapped my plans for that.
But no, I mean, I think bringing Nitro in is definitely a good option, especially because, like I mentioned before, before you guys hopped on, the non-new type. Well, I keep saying non-new type classes, but people who have not selected a new type awakening, which costs a feat, which isn't. I feel like that's not a feat tax per se because um, I think that the dragon marks in Eberron they cost a feat to get if you don't take them at the beginning of the game, they cost a feat later to add. But but yeah, I think that because the non-new type players or characters can't use the true Psychomu weapons, they can only use the wire guided incoms and limbs. Something like the Nitro system might be a good way of allowing non-new type awakened players to equip funnels and bits onto their
Yeah, and
mobile
that
suit.
was the concept of the original Nitro thing. I essentially had it to where back when it was like a cantrip to use the bit attack, essentially let you use the bit attack on even if you weren't a new type. You get like a -2 to your mental score to like a long rest or something.
Yeah, and I think that that's probably going to be a fair penalty when you add the Nitro system to a mobile suit. So, and of course, now that the new type abilities are not cantrips anymore, I think that people are going to complain a lot less that, while the rest of us run out of ammo, these new types are running around with funnels that have infinite ammo. That's not fair. So now that they are actually weapons in their own right, they have their own limited amount of deployment.
Still be cool though.
Oh yeah, yeah, they'll definitely still get to have their time in the sun.
Yeah.
I will take any excuse to just use funnels on things.
Why not? I mean, they're funnels. Everybody loves funnels.
They're fun. Eh, 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 eh. I feel
Uh, yes.
More like punnels, am I right? So,
bad.
and
That's
that
better
was
than
actually
mine.
another big thing is now it is no longer a feat to maybe I should look in mobile suit section here. So now it is no longer a feat to gain proficiency in mobile suits and weapons. You can simply do it as a downtime activity, which is, it's down to the DM to determine like am I going to let you have 6 weeks to learn how to pilot a Gundam?
Yeah.
Or if you just read the manual, then you figure out in like 2 minutes. That works too.
Yeah, that seems to work for all the main characters. So yeah, and
They
it
did what no one
introduces.
else did.
Hopefully, this introduces a bit of a bit of randomness to it as well. Now that there's like a mishap table associated with it, you do roll your success rate against. So I mean, there's the capital cost, there's the time cost. The time, though, that you can pretty much say like, okay, you took 12 weeks, but it doesn't really have an impact on the game necessarily, unless you have a really mean GM that's like, hey, the clock's always running even when we're not playing. Like if this campaign, like if we can't meet this week, guess what? That base got sacked and there was nothing you could do about it. But
That's so mean.
hey, I have
Well,
DM'd.
I guess it's time to go into the Zeta part of the campaign.
Yeah, exactly. You guys, it's been 6 months since we had our last session, therefore, it's 0096 now. So, but yeah, so there's a capital cost associated with it, which that probably hurts the most. But at least now the perk is that you get all of the bonuses at once. You get the armor point bonus, you get the evasion bonus, you get the loadout bonus, instead of having to, you know, chalk them up individually. That may be a little broken. We'll find out, I guess, soon once we kind of play test through some of this stuff. But
That, or we can always just kind of water down the values, because like I say, if you're going to get everything, getting everything at once should be a little weaker than getting everything a la carte.
true. And I think that that's going to be part of like phase 2 and phase 3 of updating the entire system. It's really kind of a system-wide overhaul, and I've kind of hinted at this a lot in the past few weeks, is restatting mobile suits and maybe making armor points, or I'm open to suggestion. Do the armor points sit as a fixed value on the mobile suit and it's the evasion that changes based on your player level? Or, I've heard compelling arguments for both, so.
Hmm. I kind of
Yeah.
like the AC being a set thing. And it's
Yeah, I'm
just
kind of
like,
with Ultron on that one. I wouldn't mess with the AC at all, / evasion.
yeah. And for evasion, you can just say, like, as you level up, you're just becoming a better pilot.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that, like, it makes more sense for evasion to be more reflective based on the pilot, and then armor points being kind of fixed based on the mobile suit. Stream is just dying. Is that a thing?
Yeah. I mean, Twitch never works for me, so this is normal for me.
But yeah. So again, hopefully these are changes that people like, and like I said, we'll talk about it for sure. I do like the idea that we discussed before of having classes have their own hit dice, because I know that was kind of a thing that we were missing, was hit dice. Kind of everybody recovers a D8 on short rests instead of recovering based on their class. So I think that gives the engineer a unique opportunity to. Oh, I kind of heard an echo on myself.
Yeah, I'm
But
not really sure where the echoes come from, because I had my headset muted. Stopping on my end.
no,
Yeah,
you are
I
good.
have just us.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that covers pretty much all of the major changes, right, to Gundam 5e that came out last week.
Yeah, well, definitely. I'll have to think about what to do with armor and evasion values, because I've mostly been kind of in new suit land over here, but
Yeah,
cooking up
true.
the fun stuff.
Yeah, Scorponok is now the lead suit designer, since he's covered everything from F91 to Crossbone to I think the only thing you haven't sniffed yet is Advance of Zeta as far as UC stuff goes.
Yeah, that I don't know really what to do with. I've seen maybe like I've seen one or two takes, and so I haven't really focused on that. My main goal is I want to get through kind of the late UC. So F91, it's good to go. It's done.
It is.
It's done. It's pretty much ready to roll out. So whenever kind of the main or whenever Hatter feels ready that the mobile suit changes, they're ready to roll. Crossbone, I'd say 80% done. I have the suits done for the most part, and there's some things that need tweaking. The ships haven't been done, yada yada yada.
Stat block for the
So
Gump
that's
win.
what'd you say?
Stat block for the Gump win.
The Gulp.
Come on, the Gump is in Crossbone.
Can't say I got that one, but I'm now looking this up.
Oh, it's just a busted double Zeta.
That's really, I didn't notice that. And that's awesome. Yeah, I may have to slip that in. But anyway, that's mostly done. I hadn't touched victory, but that's next because my goal is to kind of do everything in chronological order.
I know,
Then
and
that
you've
way
been
kind
dying
of
for
things.
some victory stuff.
Yes, that's the plan.
Yeah, so I mean that's the that's kind of the gist of it, and I mentioned this before is that I think the raw numbers that we come up with when it comes to your armor class, well, evasion or armor points, they're not going to change too drastically. It's just the way that we calculate them that's going to change. So in theory, it's not going to be hugely game breaking. I hope.
Hope
Well, we'll
burns
never
bright.
know until we try.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like when you're cleaning something, it's like you got to make a more of a mess in order to clean up the mess that you had. So yeah, and of course most of those Scorpionox mobile suits are currently in the user submitted section. The only reason I have it listed separately is because I did not want to have a ton of mobile suits that do not have images on the main mobile suits lists. So there's a lot of sprites that I need to make.
Oof. Good luck.
Yeah, one or two.
No, that's a big thing. It's not a lot of them have sprites. Most of the stuff for the F91 expansion though does. Now,
Question
I
mark.
will say I did add some very fun and interesting suits to that list in the last couple of weeks.
This is
They
true.
may not have sprites, but I think people are gonna have a very fun time.
I agree.
I'm looking forward to see what people's reactions.
Yeah, I think we might need to start dropping those in even before we finish the major overhauls, which I think is going to go in 3 phases. Of course, like I said, the phase 1 was getting those classes straightened out, getting the new type stuff cleaned up. Next phase is going to be cleaning up the mobile suits, and then I think the final phase is going to be expanding and cleaning up the weapons list, because one of the things that I think people have a real problem with is when they're going through the list of weapons, they're very strict about exactly what type of weapon they want. So, like, for instance, there might be a hyper mega launcher in here, and you could theoretically flavor it as like a high mega cannon and mount it on a double Zeta's head, and it does the same amount of damage, has the same ammo, same everything. But because it's not called the high mega cannon, people were like, well, where is this weapon? Why can't I find it? And, why isn't it made yet? Kind of thing. Um, and of course, there's 100 million variants of machine gun. And so, like, I only have the 120 millimeter and the 90 millimeter. I think there's a bullpup machine gun in there as well. But, is it worth having 25 different machine guns when you only have so many dice steps that you can apply? Maybe the answer there is since we don't have a clear, enchanted weapon mechanic in the system where, and again, this goes back to that discussion, if we had mobile suits that have fixed armor ratings, we don't necessarily need enchanted weapons because the weapon damage isn't going to increase or decrease that heavily. Like in D&D, of course, you're going to have your regular longsword does 1d6 damage, but then, you start enchanting it, you start adding, fire damage and all this kind of other stuff. That's when you start getting into like really nasty damage totals. So your if your damage doesn't scale that much, then it doesn't make sense to really have. You could have like fixed armor point values, and I would probably even set them from anywhere from like 50 to like 250, and that would address a wide range of mobile suits.
That's why I feel like if you're gonna add new weapons and new things, that rather than just making it, this is the machine gun, but it does, 1d8 instead of 1d6. Have it, have them do tricks, change
Mm-hmm.
it up, add variety, add in new gimmicks, some new mechanics and things to kind of change up how they work, and then they're actually not, not only is it a machine gun, but it's a machine gun with the flamethrower at the bottom, or it's a machine gun that has, it does something else that sets it apart as a weapon from just all the other machine guns.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, and that's like that's the flip side is like you can either have these types of weapons where everything's fixed and then you have fixed armor points, but if you're going to have armor points that scale, then your weapons need to scale with them. And we can address that by using different models. I mean, throughout I'm pretty sure you can find the list of different Zaku machine guns. I think there's like 6 or 7 of them, and from there we can start scaling damage and damage types, and maybe even add properties to them like stun and things like that. We can have like your prototype beam saber, and then your like regular type beam saber, enhanced beam saber, all that stuff. So let's see. So like I said, those are the 3 phases of the massive system overhaul. Did you guys have anything that you wanted to sort of add to that?
Uh, Not really. The main
I
thing
don't.
I the main thing I had contributed kind of has to wait till this is all done.
No,
Right.
I'm gonna be honest. To your credit, the thing you did, I feel like you went for. I don't know. I feel like you went for quality more than quantity. 'Cause your thing is pretty cool. I think people are gonna have fun with that one too.
I agree.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's coming down the pipe as well, is Ultronimus is responsible for a new class that we are going to be adding that will hopefully add a little bit more variety to gameplay for all of you people who do not want to use mobile suits. And I think that there are a couple of vehicles that you can use. I think maybe like a core fighter or two, something in there. But along with that expansion of the mobile suit list, there's going to be new tanks and fighters and small vehicles for people to use, and that is where Ultronimus's old-fashioned class is going to come into play. Those are the folks that are your Slegger Law type characters that choose to use more traditional vehicles when fighting against mobile suits. So, but again, that was something that I didn't want to drop, just like the F91 suits, didn't want to drop until we kind of revise everything, just in case. And I think you even mentioned to me in private that there are certain things about the class that probably need to be tweaked now that the mobile suit proficiencies are slightly different.
Yes, since they're kind of using the vehicles instead of the generally better mobile suits, I kind of wanted to wait to see kind of how it all panned out so they could be adjusted properly.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. I see a message in chat here that's actually very important. Is there a way to get updated when the site gets updated, like an email sent out or on Facebook? Well, I'm not on Facebook, but how would people feel if I created a mailing list that notified people? I do have like I don't update it nearly as often as I should, but there is like sort of a blog section on the website that talks about um, new updates. Clearly, I've only made 3 posts on it, so you can see how effective it's been. But I really don't think I really don't think that too many people are interested in reading all of my silly updates. So I think in the meantime, doing these sorts of live streams or videos announcing new stuff is the most effective. But you guys tell me. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, the Discord is really the primary place where I make announcements about the system. But yeah, if you're not a Discord person and you want me to send out an e-blast, I've got the software to do it. I am a seasoned Mailchimp user, so just let me know in the chat or in the comments below, and I will get that set up. No problem. And there's a screen grab of my silly looking hair from that past live stream. Yes, an e-blast is a shitty fighting game move. So I think that covers everything Gundam 5e that we wanted to talk about, but it occurred to me that it's probably for the best that we didn't run session 1 of Traveller this evening because I never got to talk to you guys about like how to actually play the game. It's like we rolled up characters and we have some exciting backstories, but yeah, we didn't talk about combat or any of that.
Backstory? What's that? Right, we're supposed to have backstory.
Right, and Traveller is one of those games, like when you're playing D&D, it's expected that you're probably starting like, between the ages of like 18 and 25, something like that. You're a young adventurer, and as you level up, you're getting older and that sort of thing. Traveller is a little different because you basically live an entire life, and then you're not starting your career until you're what, 30, mid 30s. I think both of you guys, I think all three of you guys are starting at age 30. Is that correct?
Hey,
Yeah, it
I
sounds
think I
right.
stopped at 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
We do have to finish up Legion's character. He yeah, we didn't get to finish his character last month when we started rolling these characters up, and he was probably the most unfortunate of the three of you. Having
Yeah.
served 2 tours in the Marines, one of them leading to a well, we haven't discussed the nature of his injury, but a severe injury.
And
Yeah.
poor dude.
He had a potential upswing last we saw.
Yeah, things were
I
really
know.
turning around for him.
Yeah. The poor
Finally.
guy went through space stamp twice.
Until he snitched on a superior officer and got.
Well, somebody got a tour in the Arctic.
So, yeah, we should probably discuss combat in Traveller compared to, games that we might have played in the past. I think it honestly reminds me a little bit more of Pathfinder's system. Have either of you guys played any Pathfinder?
Okay, so I have not played any Pathfinder, but I have played a teensy weensy bit of Starfinder, which is the sci-fi. I think so it's like the sci-fi version of Pathfinder.
Yeah. Yeah, that so yeah, same thing, honestly. Um I do think that the dynamic initiative of Traveller is pretty cool. So you actually roll initiative every round because there are certain things that can happen to you during the course of combat that might make it so that you are not as dexterous as you were the previous round. Um, that has a potential of slowing down combat. I might limit that to only when there is a change that might affect someone's this is me just kind of house ruling. If you get shot in the leg, I might have us re-roll initiative. And then of course, oh, what's that?
No, keep going.
And then of course, as you guys know, since it's a D6 based system, everything is rolled as a 2d6 instead of a d20. Which has some fun effects, I think.
Yeah,
So
that's gonna be interesting. Can't say I've ever played in a D6 system before.
yeah,
Same. I've never.
so every turn you get a minor action and a significant action. Minor actions include movement, changing your stance, so you can go from like prone to crouch to standing, standing to prone. Um, Drawing and reloading your weapons is a minor action. Aiming is a minor action, which I think is actually a pretty awesome feature about Traveller. So if you have a ranged weapon and you spend a minor action aiming at your target, you get a +1 dice modifier bonus to your next attack on that target. And as long as, but you can't do anything else, so you can't like move and then aim. You have to stay put and aim. Now you can spend as many actions as you want to continue aiming, and you can get a maximum of +6. So, and where this kind of comes into play is that like your significant action, instead of taking a significant action, which might be an attack or might be doing a skill check or something like that, you can trade in your significant action for 2 minor actions. So on your turn, instead of doing a minor action and a significant action, you can do 3 minor actions. So you can then aim, and then your next turn, aim again, and then take a shot, and you'll have a +4 bonus to your attack. I think that's a pretty cool mechanic, and more games should implement something like that. And then of course, yeah, there's your miscellaneous stuff like shouting, that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, here's the little table where it discusses aiming. So 1 aim per action. Laser sight, it gives you an additional bonus if you are aiming. Intelligent weapon, which we will not have in my particular campaign setting for Traveller, and we'll sort of explain that as you guys get a little further into the universe. I don't want to give away too many exciting twists and turns.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Was it to be like 2001: A Space Odyssey? I do not want to shoot your enemies, Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah. Better than the other outcomes it could have gone with.
Yeah.
Reactions are that you take them when it's not your turn, but every time you use a reaction, you lower your initiative by 2, and you take a -1 penalty to all skill checks the following round. So, if you're gonna like try and dodge a shot, you're gonna take that one. Well, first of all, you're gonna incur a -1 penalty to the person that's taking a shot at you, and then you take a -1 to all your skill checks the next turn. And of course, like this here says, if there is an obstruction that you can duck or dodge behind, that negative that negative that you incur on your opponent is increased to -2. So that's a way of getting around the aiming if your opponents are aiming at you. Parrying is the same thing as dodging, but for melee combat. Other actions include free actions, which of course are, you're familiar enough with free actions from other role-playing systems, I'm sure.
What does it take to do a free action?
They're free. Let's see. Extended actions are things that would take longer than a single combat round, longer than 6 seconds to complete. So there's actually like a whole table in Traveller that discusses like what the difficulty check of something is versus how long it takes versus how distracted you are. And so there's like a, you know, if you're being shot at while trying to unlock a door that takes 10 minutes to unlock, there's, this many penalties, this many bonuses, that sort of thing. And then of course the delay action, which you guys are familiar with from D&D as well. You don't have to act on your turn. You can hold your action until something happens, or just later in the round, that sort of thing. Special considerations in combat include oh man, there's like a ton of people popping in chat. Good to see you all. Thank you for tuning in. I wish that we were, actually playing and being entertaining. Right now we're just kind of talking. But we did talk through some Gundam 5e stuff, and now we're just going through some Traveller stuff. Do you guys have any questions so far about the Traveller combat?
Not really. I'll probably ask more when we start. It seems like
Yeah,
it might get easier in action.
True.
yeah, I'm
I'm
kind of the same way. I feel like some of this I kind of get nailed. The other bits, it's just we're just gonna have to do combat
yeah. No, I'm
one or two
definitely
times, and
a
we'll get
kinetic learner myself, so um so basically what I've been doing, in preparation of running this game is basically fighting myself. Creating a couple of characters that didn't die in character creation, and fighting myself. And again, some of this stuff is going to apply to us. Some of it isn't. Like I said, any type of AI stuff that you find in the rule book, you might want to disregard. So, automatic weapons have unique properties when it comes to combat in Traveller, which this might be something that we can use to inspire our Gundam 5e machine guns and rapid fire weapons like that. When using a single shot, you make your attacks as normal. When using burst fire, you can add the auto value to the damage. So every burst fire and auto fire weapon comes with a value that you can add to the damage when you use the burst fire. When you go full auto fire, you roll a number of dice equal to the auto rating of the weapon and then sort them into pairs as you wish. Each pair is an individual attack, and then you can allocate that damage to as many different targets as provided that all of the targets are within 6 meters of each other, and they can't benefit from a skill any higher than level 1. So it's kind of like a spray and pray attack type.
The heavy arm special.
Yeah, exactly. Full on barrage of bullets.
Oh yeah.
So that could be, and I think that's kind of where I'm thinking of going with Gundam 5e in regards to, like I mentioned, the funnels before. All of those funnels have a number associated with them. The number of funnels that are actually mounted to the suit, might be 6, might be 12, and those funnel types, I'm thinking that we do something like this, where when you are using like all 6 funnels at once, maybe it's not necessarily a normal attack. You can't do the sort of thing where so let's see, most classes actually do get a multi-attack ability. So if you are using single funnel attacks, you can stack that with multi-attack. If you are going to use burst fire or auto fire using your 6 funnels all attacking one target, maybe you add 6 to the damage, or maybe you do the roll 6 dice and then pair them off into individual attacks.
Oh no, I feel like it's all fun and games until somebody brings 30 funnels to the party.
This is true.
Hey, now, if they bring 30 funnels, that's all they have.
Yeah, there's definitely questions of balance there for sure. So, but if we did it for funnels, we would do it for the machine guns too, So it's not like battlefield communications. So there are several types of communication in Traveller. Obviously, direct, hand signals and verbal communication. Hard links are wired communication, can't be jammed. which is good. Radio communication. You guys know what radio is. um, Laser communication, which tight laser beams can, as long as you can have line of sight to the target you're trying to communicate with, you can communicate with them via lasers. Unfortunately, this can be disrupted by smoke, aerosols, things like that. Masers. What's that? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Trying to say something, Ultron? Because
Yeah, I think I lost you.
I am still here.
Oh, okay, good. I'm gonna bump you up then.
Sorry, I am a low and slow talker.
No, you're fine. I'm from Texas. We all speak slowly down there.
Yeah, I feel better now.
Masers are just like lasers, except they actually can go through smoke and aerosols. And then Mason, I'm probably mispronouncing that. Mason communicators cannot be jammed or blocked, but they cannot be used while a character is moving. So all these different communication methods have their pros and cons, and all of them are going to be relevant in the campaign setting that we're playing in. So there's no new type nonsense. You probably can't. Well, there might be some bionic stuff that we throw in there.
yeah, I meant to do some of that, and I forgot.
Yeah, we do need to talk about that for sure.
The
and-
most important question, is there a maser cannon?
Yeah.
there might be. I actually haven't looked through the full list of weapon types.
There
Well,
might be.
like-
His Hatter just like immediately drafts up stats for a maser cannon.
I was just making a Godzilla reference. I'm glad it might actually be a thing.
Well, I mean,
I didn't realize that was like actually a thing.
It's
Anyway.
it's the lightning laser thing they always use on the kaiju that does basically nothing to them.
yeah,
It's a little better than the missiles, but
it's that secret weapon that they always pull out, and it's like, no, we just made him stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it first thing when I heard that name.
Well, we do have to discuss what kind of weapons we are going to equip. Like I mentioned, Traveller does have its own rule set when it comes to mecha and like walkers and things like that. They tend to be a little stiff. I'm thinking of pulling in some BattleTech inspiration and having, light, medium, heavy, and like super heavy mechs. And since you, Ultronimus, of our 3-player characters, are essentially a mech pilot, a journalist / mech pilot, which I think is going to be probably the most interesting character combination.
Yeah.
I'll get the story no matter what.
Bring me pictures of Spider-Man or I'll stomp the...
But no, it's like, wasn't there that Japanese Spider-Man or whatever that had like the spider mech?
Yes, there was.
No.
I think he had a spider
He was
cycle
a-
too.
Oh yeah, then there was like the weird 70s one in Japan that like didn't that like it wasn't that the reason that the like Megazords existed or something? I don't know.
That's a long, confusing story we would need to research to make sure we got it right. But I don't
I
think they
vaguely
were
remember that.
actual news reporters. I think that came with Peter. I know Penny was anime
Because there's that one,
student.
because I think it's like Into the Spider-Verse or whatever. Like
Yeah,
it's in there.
she's
Yeah.
her and the character that's basically her in the Spider-Verse comic. They're students. They aren't like reporters.
Oh. Yeah, no, I think it's
Yeah,
it's only the
they
old
went
show
full
that has
anime
the
for them.
reporters.
We gotta get you one of those like UAX style mechs with the giant like camera arm and the big gray dome and the
that's another thing that I want to, that I want to talk about is like, what kind of mecha are going to exist. Um, so, and it's going to be very, uh, yeah, very low tech stuff. We're not talking Gundam for sure. More like robot jocks.
I
Which
honestly was thinking like aliens when you said low tech.
Yeah, like Aliens or Avatar
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
either of those would be good examples of the sort of type of sci-fi that we are going for. Which again, this is probably, like I said, a blessing that we're not playing tonight because it's going to give me more time to compile some visual aids. You guys still don't even know what all like half the alien species look like. So but yeah, like I said, it's basically or I think someone mentioned last stream that it's like, oh, this kind of sounds like Mass Effect, but like cassette punk Mass Effect. And I was like, yeah, that's probably a good way of describing it.
Mass cassettes.
Mass cassettes.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for we should meet Laserbeak and Ravage, and we'll be good to go.
So there are grappling rules in Traveller. They're not nearly as crunchy as D&D 3.5. Um, you so a character can attempt to wrestle or grab a person instead of hitting them. They move their personal range and beat the target in an opposed melee check. So it'd be rolling 2d6 versus each other, adding your appropriate modifiers. And then if you win, you can do any of the following. So this is what's interesting about grappling is that it covers a lot of things other than just grabbing someone. So if you grapple a character, you can knock your opponent prone, you can disarm your opponent, you can throw your opponent up to 3 meters, you can inflict damage equal to 2 plus an effect. You can escape a grapple if you're trying to resist a grapple check. Or you can continue the grapple with no other effects, or you can drag your opponent up to 3 meters. So there's like I said, it's a lot of different things as opposed to just like, okay, I'm gonna roll to grab this person.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Kind of get
Yeah,
the
that's
guide
pretty
in a
interesting.
way.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's not as crunchy as like a Pathfinder or D&D 3.5 where it's like you have rules for throwing, you have rules for grappling, you have rules for knocking people prone, you have rules for shoving. It's like everything falls under the category of grapple whenever you are doing like a physical attack on someone that you don't mean to do damage, but you're trying to like do something. Um, so that's that little table just kind of explains all of that. Range.
Def-
Oh, go ahead.
definitely seems like an upgrade to D&D 5th edition grappling,
Yes.
which is kind of just dumb.
Yeah, and that's because they tried to strip down, just how number crunchy it was in 3.5. But then of course 4, it's like I don't even think there was grappling in 4. I think it was just like D&D 4 was silly. It's like everybody had just powers. Everything was just short and long rests, like uses. They didn't have like slots or anything for stuff. Range, and this is one of the reasons that we're primarily going to be doing combat. Like I said, not necessarily theater of the mind. I will have battle maps for you guys to look at just for reference, so that you're not constantly saying like, "Wait, how far was this guy? What's that?" That kind of thing. But the range is more of like, kind of like FFG, where it's narrative speaking. So like, rather than saying, oh, this person is 30 feet away, so you can only use a weapon that can reach 30 feet, you have ranges in just narrative speak. So personal range is anything less than 1.5 meters. Stupid metric system. So personal range is basically just, engaged in melee combat. Close range is 1.5 to 3 meters. So, like within like a step and grab kind of thing, like within like a 5-foot step if you are using 3.5 terminology. Short range is actually anywhere between 3 and 12 meters. So, you know, what even is 12 meters? Is that like 15 yards, 20 yards, something like that? So, you know, far enough that it would start to get
It's
difficult
like
to
40 feet, I think.
40 feet.
Or something. Yeah, roughly.
I'm gonna have to have a conversion chart when we play.
I just looked it up because I was curious. Let's see, the yardage is like 13. It's 13 yards.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what? Every meter is like 1.3 yards, something like that, right?
Yeah, something of that nature. I just looked it up. I don't know for sure in terms of the exact details.
Yeah, see, filthy Americans over here trying to understand the metric system.
I know, right?
Give it to me in legs and hands. How many hands is it away?
How many steps does it take me to walk from, here to there? There we go.
Yeah. Tell me how many licks it takes to get to the center of that Tootsie Pop over there.
The world may never know.
But yeah, then you go down the line. Medium is going to be up to 50 meters. Long is up to 250 meters. Very long is up to 500 meters. And distant is 500 meters and
Plus-
above. So, like I said, it's not going to be like a lot of this sort of counting out squares type of stuff. It's like, if your shotgun has short range, then I'm just going to say the guy's in short range. You don't have to like count it out and say like, well, they do have conversions, so it's like, oh well, this would be 3 to 8 squares away. Well, 3 to 8 squares is, I think you would agree, is pretty vague standard of like how, like, if you were to count it out and it's like, okay, my shotgun is 3 to 8 squares of range, it's like, well, is it 3 or is it 8? Like, can I shoot 6? Maybe, I don't know. So like I said, it's going to be handled more narratively. I'm just going to say like, oh, he's medium range away. So, use your minor action to move from medium range to long range, or use your minor action to move from close range to personal range. We covered stance briefly, about like moving from prone to crouched. As you know, it affects your penalties / benefits to aiming and evading attacks. So ranged attacks on someone who is prone suffer a -2 penalty. At close range, the penalty is reduced to 0. So it's like, you might be crouching, but and this is something that I don't that D&D 5e probably doesn't cover very well, where it's like, oh yeah, if you're crouching, then ranged attacks have disadvantage on you. Well, if you're within 10 feet of the guy, I don't care if you're crouching or not. It's like, so yeah, at close range, crouching is
What if I crouch and then cover myself with a cardboard box?
Huh? What was that noise?
Clearly. It's almost as effective as constantly jumping.
It's like playing Dark Souls. Just roll.
That roll, yeah.
I'm going to use a minor action to roll.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, if it ain't broke.
Yep.
Thrown weapons we probably aren't going to get into too often. But yeah, there are thrown weapons. Each weapon lists the damage that it inflicts as a number of d6, and you add the effect of the attack roll to this damage. So if there's any modifiers that are that are added to that. As you guys know, your HP, I think we did calculate HP last session, right?
I don't remember us doing that, to be honest.
That's something
Did
we
we?
probably
I
need
don't
to.
think we did that.
I don't even see like an HP, a place to put your HP on the sheet. That's all. I almost wondered if it was like Savage Worlds and it was like a wound system or something.
It is,
Or instead of
yeah.
Okay.
It is like that. So because of that, it's one of those games where uh combat should probably be your like last line of defense, because if you get into a fight and someone does something that's like, oh, this does 2d6 damage, that you could get one hit killed. Now of course there's armor and there's like things that you can do to mitigate that. There's like, you know, like your defense, or like, I know that FFG calls it soak, but Traveller calls it something else. I need to look that up. But there's a certain amount of damage that you can shrug off before it really starts to hurt you.
I feel like it might also be Soak in Savage Worlds, but I don't remember for sure because it's been a hot minute since I played that system.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never played Savage Worlds myself.
It's fun.
I heard of it. That's all.
Yeah, I think one time I did like a 1950s, like I was in like a 1950s Hollywood campaign.
Ooh.
That was interesting.
Everyone
I was
collectively,
the
ooh.
I
Yeah,
was
that
the like
sounds interesting.
I was like the coming I was like the coming to America like mantis praying mantis dude, just like the fresh off the boat guy. And it was really
Uh,
ridiculous. Like one of the other characters came in and was like, "Oh, hey, dude, how's it go? Or how's it going?" And I like spit in my mouth, and then I found the river.
he has so many dreams ahead of him.
Yeah, that was an interesting character. But I digress.
Okay, so like I said, your any armor that you're wearing or clothing is actually going to offer a certain amount of protection. For instance, cloth offers a protection of 15, which seems rather high to me. Think about it. That said, your damage after that protection threshold is dealt to your endurance, like directly to your endurance score, which kind of sucks. And then any further damage is dealt. So like if your endurance hits 0, which by that point you're like you're struggling. If your endurance hits 0, then it starts dealing damage to your strength or dexterity, and you can choose, which is, so that's kind of fortunate for Ultronus. I think that your character's super squishy. So
Yeah, it's why I have the robot.
I was about to
yes.
say, I don't know. I think you and me are neck and neck for Squishy's character.
I
'Cause I
think you
have,
have some
oh yeah,
combat skills, though.
I have some decks. I'm I'm like an out of combat. I think I'm mostly an out of combat character. I just happen to have a very large gun. That's the only thing I have going for me in combat.
Well,
Right.
and kind of the irony of that is that Legion, our other player, is a Marine, but let's face it, if Ultronimus is going to be in a mech, then he's going to be the tank. He's literally a tank.
The tank reporter.
I think that's what we're going to call the campaign, is the tank reporter.
Because I'm the yeah. I feel like I'm like the party face, but like speak softly, carry a giant gun.
Yeah, I think every time you got something in your career, it was like your carouse skill went up. I think you have like 2 carouse, right? Which I think is the
No, I have
highest.
like two. I have 2 deception and like a 0 in carouse, and I have 2 in like 1 in legalese. I call
Yeah,
it advocate,
yeah,
but it's pretty much
advocate.
legalese.
Well, we should change it to legalese for our own purposes.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, the way that, like I said, armor works. So say for instance you are wearing a cloth, clothing, and someone rolls 2d6 to deal damage to you, and um, they roll a 10, then they don't get through to start damaging your endurance. So, yeah, they have to start
Clothes
rolling.
really is useful.
Of course, if they do deal anything higher than 6, it always deals at least 1 point of damage. So that's something. Whereas if a 6 comes up on the die, you are going to take 1, even if your armor would normally block it. Let's see. This is where we're getting into stuff that is going to be relevant to you, Ultronymous, as the resident mech pilot is combat.
Hey.
Unlike people who are mobile and maneuverable, careful track must be kept which way a vehicle is facing. Vehicle-mounted weapons and armed passengers, to a lesser extent, are restricted to certain firing arcs. This may or may not apply, depending on what kind of mech you end up using, whether you're using something light that's maneuverable, or whether you're using like a heavy mech that you're going to have to like take a minor action just to turn and like change your firing arc.
That's fine. It's like X-Wing, but with a robot.
Yeah. Let's see. So,
Yeah.
like I said,
I
there's
think I also took grav vehicles as well. So I have like a little bit of vehicle skill, but not like mechs or anything.
yeah, I
Right.
think that
it
it would.
drive us.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think that Ultronymous even meant to get mech skills. I think it was just like a complete by accident. We just rolled it on the career table and it came
Right.
up. And
I think it was an option, and you suggested it, and it was just too good an opportunity. Since
Yeah,
I think I didn't want to take it at first because I didn't think it fit, and then the next roll gave me the option to take it again.
someone was speaking to you.
Yeah.
Hmm?
So so yeah, there
Well, we're
are
gonna need it with all the enemies we've made. We're gonna need some kind of protection.
Yeah. We all have enemies, don't we?
Yeah, well, because I know Legion has just one enemy at least. I
Oh,
have an enemy.
I
Do you have an
yeah.
enemy?
I may or may not have made a political enemy who may or may not have exiled me.
Well, I think mine's also political, but it's more because like I think I founded like a pack or something, and then I got one friend and one enemy out of it.
Oh.
Yeah, you were like the Charlie Kirk of Traveller. You started like some some political organization in your university and
Yeah.
um
Oh, we're gonna have the military and the government not liking us. This is just gonna go so swell.
um
Well, at least I left on semi-okay terms with my company. At
yeah,
least they don't hate me.
That's true.
So this is I think where it's going to get particularly interesting. You know, in order to do certain things, you have to use significant actions while piloting a mech or driving a vehicle in order to. You can do them as minor actions, but they incur skill checks. So, like a maneuvering skill check or something like that. If you take a standard or like a significant action, I'm probably going to mix that up. I'm just going to say it. I'm warning you now. I'm going to mix up standard action and significant action a lot. Just as often as I mix up, intellect and intelligence.
Well, that or a minor action and bonus action.
Well,
You know.
I might mix up bonus action and free action a lot. Minor
I'm
action.
already confused.
That's my job.
We'll be getting it all mixed up.
If I can
I
keep
want
you in a
to do things. Let me do the thing.
Yes, let's do the things.
Well, it's like the first time
Let's either
Okay.
I want to do the things or want to tell the other person to not do the thing.
Well, and it's like I've been running Gundam games so often that like the last D&D game that I ran, I ended up asking for like an engineering check or something like that, and someone looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, I meant Constitution. But the way that damage is handled on vehicles is unique compared to the way that damage is handled on personnel. So vehicle damage, when you roll damage, it counts as hits, right? So like say for instance, you roll your 2d6 of damage and you get an 8. that counts as a double hit. So that's like one really strong hit on the vehicle, and then you apply those hits to locations on a location table. This is going to be one of those things where gameplay is going to get kind of slowed down. What I'll probably end up doing is start rolling like all of the dice at once, and then going from there. But like, let's say for instance, you roll your 2d6, you get an 8, double hit. Then you roll 2d6 again, and you get a 6, and it hits the external part of the vehicle. It's going to count against the hull. So the hull is like, it's got its own, hit points, and it's probably, I think it's like a number between 2 and 6, honestly, because all of those hits only deal 1 damage. So then that double hit is going to hit the hull for 2 points. Let's say your hull is 4 points, then it gets reduced to 2. And then so like what ends up happening is you can destroy parts of your mech or parts of your vehicle before getting to the structure, which is the core of the vehicle. And if you end up hitting something that you already hit or already destroyed, then all of that rollover damage gets dealt to the structure. When the vehicle runs out of structure, it is destroyed. If it is destroyed by an attack that reduces it to negative structure, it explodes, doing 4d6 damage to everyone within 6 meters, including the occupants. So, don't die in your mech.
Well, given what you said, I mean, 4d6 sounds like a lot of damage.
Yes.
But the captain must always go down with his ship.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about this pew pew gun of mine. I'm like, ew, that's a little scary.
But yeah, this.
I may have to buy a guitar case.
Yeah, this sounds cool. I'd be curious if there's like a way to try and escape, or if he just had to like abandon ship when it starts smoking and burning.
Glad you asked, because you can indeed escape. So,
Woohoo!
the occupants of a closed vehicle cannot dodge or dive for cover from the explosion damage, but the occupants of an open vehicle can. So, if you're going to have like an open top mech, something like from Lost Planet, one of those things that you're kind of standing on top of, then you can jump off of it. Dude, Lost Planet is my jam.
Can't say I've heard of Lost Planet.
It's a Capcom game that was on like. I know it's on the 360. I can't remember if that's also where it originated. We went there for part of the campaign. Snow Planet, lots of angry,
Oh
weird
yes, the Snow
aliens
Planet.
and giant robots that you can pilot. And you are extremely durable. Like obscenely durable.
It's like Capcom's take on Starship Troopers.
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Remember that was where we had the xenomorph thing where I just like turned myself invisible
Yes.
through
You
the
did do
entire
it.
xenomorph mess.
So much content was cut.
Such a shame.
Yes, could you please look, you just walked one way, I walked the other way, and yeah. That was the best.
So, let's see. As an example, there we go. I was like, that looks like it was from Stars Without Number, not Traveller. So this is an example
Is
of
Stars
like,
Without Number like D&D converted to D&D 5th edition converted to like sci-fi?
it's close. There's some differences. I like it, but yeah, and that's another game system that we can try out for sure. So for instance, this is like the stats of a heavy walker, which would be from the Traveller. It's from a specific like vehicle catalog. it has the tech level stuff. We're not really going to play with tech level stuff in Traveler, which tech level indicates like where certain planets fall on their development stage. So it's like I think current day tech is like I want to say like tech level 5 or something like that. Then you still
Yeah, because I remember rapiers being like 3.
yeah. Yeah, so it's like and then the max you can get is like tech level 15, which is light speed travel, all kinds of insane. I'm sure time travel is involved in that too. Then like you
Wait,
get
what?
oh whoa, like I said, we'll get there. I think that the entire universe in the entire universe in my campaign setting is probably going to be sitting somewhere around tech level uh let's say 9 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Okay.
it's going to be very rare that you encounter like a medieval species. We'll put it that way.
What is it? I'm trying to get. It could be like that one Transformers episode where we all time travel to medieval era. Oh, I'm trying to remember what it's called. Shoot,
I don't remember that one.
it's like joust on tanks. There's like a scene at the end where like I think I think Daniel, Daniel jousts on Warpath. He's like riding the tank on and jousting against Frenzy, who's on ramjets. There's like this tank and jet is charging each other
Oh jeez.
in like this medieval sci-fi world.
That's that's pretty awesome. It kind of sounds like the Moon episode of Double Zeta Gundam. Which that baffles my mind. Like how
Oh,
can
I
you
found it.
live on a space colony and like oh we're just farmers. We don't believe in science. It's like you're on a space colony.
It's there you go. It's called the Decepticon Raider in King Arthur's Court. That's it.
Oh yes, I do remember that now. Um, so yeah, like for instance with this heavy walker, this is kind of a template because the hull of this heavy walker is actually 3 times the number of spaces it occupies. So if it's like huge, then the hull is 9. If it's just a small individual pilot mech, then it's going to be 3.
Hmm.
And then of course all these mechs can come with special modifiers such as multi-legs. Most walkers are assumed to have 2 legs, but if you have multi-leg designs that balance their weight out, makes walking easier to control, you can add their agility. Um,
And it looks cool.
and it looks cool because it starts to look like a spider mech. Um,
Yeah.
I can just imagine you as more of like a
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
basically sitting inside of a Tachikoma with like a machine gun on top.
I keep thinking of that mobile armor from Victory Gundam. It's like the multi-legged one, and it's like it's like the machine gun. I forget what it's called, but
Oh.
yeah, there was a kind of a spider-legged mobile armor from Victory Gundam that was. I have to look this up now.
But yeah, so I think that pretty much covers everything combat wise that I wanted to talk about. Skill
Oh,
checks are
here we
going to
go.
be oh, skill checks are going to be easy because it's really just rolling the 2d6 plus your appropriate ability modifier. Oh, that thing looks like a bee.
Yeah, it's the sand hog, or sand hoge. I don't know how you're supposed to say that. That's what I was thinking.
Well, here, let me I'll put it on stream for people to review. The old sandhoge. I like its little proboscis there.
Yeah, I know, right? I think it's a machine gun. Some kind.
That
Yeah,
is
it's
a
like a
very
little
small caliber
gun.
machine gun.
You know,
Well, I,
that or
I
like a
don't
beam gun or something like that.
I don't know the scale of this, so it might actually be huge.
It's probably an average size one because it's like a bigger. I think it's like a decent size mobile armor.
Um,
But it's Victory, so it might be like regular mobile suit size.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, that's yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Spider robot. That would be cool though.
Spider-Bot.
Especially if you could like rotate the torso around. So like if somebody tried to get the jump on you, like from behind, you just like turn the torso
Turn the
180
torso around
degrees
and
and just get
like
him.
that's like Japanese horror movie type stuff, like the torso turning around and then like coming forward at you.
That's like that it's like that mech walker from the Alien Encounter video game at Disney Quest. If y'all ever went there,
No, I
it's
never
like this
saw
like
that.
little it's like a little it was like a simulator thing. I think you could have like 5 people in it and you play this walker. You're supposed to pick up all these like space colonists and then get the hell out as all these aliens are attacking you. And the graphics look like it was like on the Nintendo 64. Just like in this it's like I think it's like one dude drives the mech and then everybody else has guns and they just
That's kind
but
of
yeah,
cool.
it had like the rotating torso, I think if I remember correctly.
That's
That
pretty
was cool.
sweet. So then the only other thing I guess we should probably talk about is injury and recovery, because I don't want you guys worrying about like, oh no, my endurance is damaged, I'm going to die. No, you do actually gain your characteristics back. There's natural healing, and then of course there's medical treatment. Um and we can get into the nitty gritty of the mechanics, but you do regain a number of characteristic points equal to 1d6 plus your endurance dice modifier per full day of rest. So you take a day off, you get 1d6 added to whatever characteristics you've lost. So let's say you took a couple bullets, your endurance dropped a couple points. Maybe you even have negative endurance, so it's like, oh, I'm gonna roll my 2d6 and I get a 4, I get -1, then I get to add 3 back to my endurance score. Stuff like that. So yeah, you're not going to you aren't going to lose anything, and so we should probably be careful not to, don't erase your scores when taking damage while we're in combat, because you will gain them back.
Cool.
You can also lose mental characteristics. That's going to be a thing that occurs a lot in this campaign setting, both from psionic damage and because you all chose to be brainy people. I can't pick on you physically, so I have to pick on your brains. So yes, you can even lose education as a
Oh no! My degree! Just like just lose my college degree just vanishes.
I forgot how to calculus.
It's like the Thanos snap where just like the degree just turns into dust.
Right, you're sitting there like Marty McFly with your diploma, like as it fades away. And then all of a sudden you play some Chuck Berry and everything's okay. But yeah, unless otherwise specified, which I'll let you know if this is the case, your mental characteristics only recover by 1 point a day. So take your Ginkoba. All right. Did you guys have any other questions about the Traveller system before we start our session 1 next time?
Not really. I think the main stuff would just be trial and error in the moment.
Yeah, like I
I
said,
guess.
you guys are
Yeah.
you guys know I'm more of a kinetic learner anyway, as well. I prefer to learn by doing than to, read a bunch of books, which,
Like
you know.
I feel like I'm gonna have to look up how much a guitar case is in Traveller.
Well, considering the inflation rates in Traveller, I feel like everything is 100 and some credits. I know that when you went and bought your gun in the book, it's like, oh, things are actually really expensive.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like, oh yes, the suit exposure is 46. Looks at the plasma gun damage value. Whoops.
One thing that you guys are not going to have to worry about, and you guys have been good about this so far anyway, is not incurring debt. You guys aren't going to have to worry about debt for your ship. That is going to be taken care of for you, but we will get to that session 1.
Okay, yeah, because that's the other thing I was gonna ask is how are you gonna do like any other starting items if we just want like basic stuff?
That we are going to also cover in session 1 because there's going to be, I mean, no, without foreshadowing too much, you are
Cool.
going to be thrust into like your call to adventure is going to be rather sudden and jarring. So
Okay. Because I figured we're all gonna want like the basic goods, especially armor, like a decent, like just a like the basic entry level set of armor, so we don't just get deleted.
And that's another thing, with this system, how like I don't know if you had gotten into the armor I believe raid.
I read a little bit about it.
Well, you know that there are environmental dangers. There are planets with temperature variance. There are planets that you're not going to be able to breathe on. So, the difference between a vac suit and a battle suit. Battle suit's going to protect you from more damage. Vac suit's going to protect you from environmental damage. So you're going to have to kind of play things by ear, depending on what challenges you're going to be facing at a time. And I'll be sure
Yeah,
that.
I thought it was interesting that like vac suit had like a skill check for vac suit. I'm like, shouldn't everybody like? I was like, I wonder how does that work? Because you think everybody would need a vac suit, unless you're just staying on the planet forever.
I mean, you guys, for the most part, based on your backstories, I don't think many of you actually like left your home planet.
Ooh.
I thought
What?
I did when I got exiled, or at least I kind of imagined I did.
Yes, you got kicked off world.
Yeah, that sucks.
The price of journalistic integrity.
I know he's like deep throat over here.
Bro.
Oh man.
And I'm gonna be working with a spy. This will be lovely.
Spy. I'm corporate. There you go.
Yeah, corporate
We're either
espionage.
going to get along or dislike each other. I could tell.
Well, he
Look,
can be
you
like
don't
your new
pry into my
informant.
situation. I don't pry into your situation. It'll be cool. It'll be cool.
We already disagree because I now want to report on this.
Oh no.
I'm gonna blow the lid wide open.
I don't know what's under, but I'll find out.
Well, remember, I am somewhat proficient in legalese.
Damn, my only weakness,
The
besides the
law.
government, apparently.
Oh man. Well, yeah, I guess with that, we'll probably go ahead and bring the stream to a close since we kind of covered everything that I was interested in talking about. Unless there was anything else you guys had questions about or anything like that.
Nay, says I.
Yeah, I think that was pretty good
Sweet.
in terms of covering everything.
Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me this evening, and thank you
This was
for
fun.
bringing on your input on the Gundam 5e system going forward. And I hope that I kind of made what our next Traveller session is going to be a little clearer and kind of give you a little more insight as to how combat's going to work. Like I said, it flows a little bit differently than D&D 5e or even Pathfinder, Starfinder, etc. At least it's not something silly like the Call of Cthulhu system. Those D100 systems I find tedious.
Oh my god, D100s, like, oh lordy,
I mean,
that sounds ridiculous.
technically they're like D10 based systems, but it's like percentile dice, so you roll 2 D10s and
Oh no.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out in chat, and I hope that you guys are excited about the new three-phase Gundam 5e update, and I hope that you had fun listening to us shoot the shit about tabletop RPGs, and yeah, I hope you guys have a good evening and a good rest of your week. Again, I will continue to keep shilling for my Friday night D&D campaign, RiverQuest Games. Follow us on YouTube, Odyssey, Twitch, etc. We're going to be streaming again this Friday, and this time we're going to have good audio because I actually bought a new audio mixer. And for all of you Gunpla watchers in the audience, all of you Gunpla people, I actually, you guys are going to be excited to hear about this. I managed to get myself an affiliate link with a Gunpla tools tools provider. So if you visit gunprimer.com, which is a Gunpla tool retailer, or e-tailer, I should say. They're an e-commerce site based out of Korea, I want to say. Very high end. What's that?
So wow, that's cool.
Yeah, very very high end products. They're the ones that make the Gunpla razor, the little like nib remover. You can get 10% off using promo code Hatter. So yeah, if you want 10% off of your Gunpla, your high end Gunpla tools, gunprimer.com, promo code Hatter. Again, I wish you all a good night, a good rest of your week. Scorponok, Ultronomus, thank you for joining me. I see the dogs are hitting my camera, so that means it's time for me to go. I will catch you all later, and yeah, take it easy.
Bye-bye for now.